Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All righty. Welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Boy, what a show we got for you today.
Buckle up, boys and girls.
You know, Tim, it's not football season. Basketball is over. Hockey is over. It's just baseball. It's going to be slow, for the next few months. Woo! Woo!
Or is it?
Would say. And yes, we have Ric Flair news. Some of you out there know what I'm talking about. We may or may not get to it depending on what the hell happens here today. So buckle up, kiddos. We got a big show for you today. We've got news on the Rays sale, which I hinted at last night. I could not help myself. So I put a little cryptic tweet out there, which I am very much not in favor of. I am very anti-cryptic tweet, but I did it anyway because I just couldn't help myself. I just have so much inside that I can't let out that I had to just do something to let the pressure out a little bit. So I did. So I apologize sort of for the cryptic tweet, but not really. My camera's not square. My camera's not square. I don't like it. So anyway, we've got that kind of news coming at your way. And we're going to talk about the Rays on the field, which is really, really awesome.
Pretty promising right now, isn't it?
Unbelievable. It's never been better. It has never been better. The future of this franchise on and off the field, in my opinion. It's a very exciting time to be a Rays fan. Very exciting time. And I hope everybody gets on board. That's very interesting conversations over the past 48 hours. So it's good. All right. We're going to get to obviously the Wander Franco situation and kind of put that in perspective of, and what a juxtaposition. When I say this franchise has never had a brighter future, and we're literally saying goodbye to the greatest prospect in the history of this franchise. And I think it's fair to say that. So that's kind of weird. So we'll get to some Buck stuff as well. Anything you guys want to bring up, obviously, in the comments. It's Friday, so bring it up. And Paul Wilson's going to join us, our media mogul, actor, businessman, St. Pete businessman extraordinaire. And I've tasked him with a couple of things. Number one, we're going to get into some more of the blockbuster stuff for this summer that you guys can go watch. And number two, unity in the community. Because I see in the very near future, there's going to be an opportunity for St. Petersburg to move on without baseball, without Major League Baseball. And I think it's great for the city. And I'll be interested to get his take on it because he's born and raised in St. Petersburg. Well, not born, but raised in St. Petersburg. Of course, part of the great Wilson family, Fox 13. They are St. Pete royalty. So I really think it'd be interesting to get his perspective on what this looks like moving forward without Major League Baseball. He was here before it, and he was obviously going to be here after it. So, and we'd love to get your thoughts on that as well. If you are in St. Pete and in Tampa, all that. So let's get right to it. And as I've been saying all week, there's so much that I cannot say. I've been in touch with all the groups that are involved in this sale this week, especially. And again, I've explained to all of them. I've been in this business for 28 years here as a local sportscaster. There's a lot of stories that I know that I can never say. And people trust me when they give me information to keep stuff off the record, but obviously they want the information out there in its context. And that is what I promised them I would do. And that is why I have not given up any of these names in the Tampa Bay group, because I've been asked not to, and I will not violate that. Now, that being said, I think it's only fair to our audience, and I explained this to the folks I talked to, that I will not use your names. I will not use specific information, but I need to relate to my fans and the people as best I can where things are. I think that's fair, and they agree with that. So there's a lot of trust that's involved in this. And as we've said, and to me, this is the biggest story in Tampa Bay sports history, and it's ongoing. This stadium saga of the Rays itself. Obviously, it's a major league team. It's a major professional team in our area. And it also involves the two major epicenters of business and in our area, St. Petersburg and Tampa. And it also involves billionaires on both sides of the bay and billions of dollars in development in St. Pete and billions of dollars of development in Tampa. So as I stand here with that preamble, I would say without question, this is not only the biggest sports story, but maybe the biggest story in our area's history in terms of money and impact. And I think that's fair when we take out anything that has to do, obviously, with war and major political upheaval.
And I think we definitely have our winner in the most disappointing Tampa Bay area athlete ever, right?
Yeah, with Wander Franco. Yeah, I think. Ding, ding, ding. So, but as it pertains to this sale, this is huge. It is huge. And I think I can say this, that I have never, and it's been a long process, I have never been more optimistic that the Rays are going to be sold to a group with deep, deep Tampa Bay ties with plans on building a stadium in Tampa. And that's the best way I can say it. This is not me reporting 100% that this deal is done, because when Stu Sternberg is involved, nothing is done. As we have seen, nothing is done. But my sense is that Stu Sternberg, for the most part, has been neutered in this situation. That Major League Baseball, as we've told you for a long time, Major League Baseball has had enough. The evidence is everywhere. We're not going to rehash all of it. We've seen what the commissioner has done with the Pinellas County Commission, what he said to St. Pete City Council, how he has worked this whole thing since that deal fell apart. They'd had enough. They've threatened his revenue sharing publicly, unprecedented. They've had enough. Sources I've talked to have said there's no more negotiating with the city. There's no more negotiating with other groups. You're going to get a fair price, well over what it's worth, and everybody's going to get to move on. Everybody. So I can say this, that I've never been more confident that this team will be sold to local ownership for the most part. Zalewski, as the anchor investor, confirmed, from Jacksonville, but has a lot of ties to Tampa. The group in itself, Tampa-centric. And when I say Tampa-centric, Tampa Bay. Because there's investors on both sides of the bay. And we're going to get into that, what that means, because I think it's important. I think it's time for unity in the community. I think it's time for this civil war across the bays to end. And this, I think, is a great demarcation point for that, quite frankly. We all have our assets on both sides, and we need to come together as a group to maximize those assets and be as one, in my opinion. And I can see that future, and we've talked about this. I drove by Ybor City this morning, did a little video, and I said, imagine, if you will, a beautiful baseball stadium on the water in downtown Tampa. Or maybe just, let me put it differently. Downtown Tampa Bay. How's that? Because it takes all of us to get this done. It takes willing people in St. Petersburg to support the team and Pinellas County, and a government over there that will support this move. That's important. It takes, obviously, the folks in Hillsborough County with their money responsibly spent, not as a gift to billionaires, but a true public-private partnership that benefits everybody. With all due respect, that St. Pete deal was not that. It would have crippled the city and the county. And frankly, for not much return on investment besides ego. We have a major league team. And to a lot of people, that's important. And I get that, and I don't diminish it. But it's part about what this monologue is. You do have a major league team. The people of St. Petersburg have a major league team. They're called the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're not moving to Nashville, and they're not moving to Raleigh. As many of you have said a billion times, they're not going to Portland. They're staying here, as I've told you. And I stand by the reporting that I started in February. This is the group that Major League Baseball wants. They have a letter of intent, albeit not binding, but hopefully executed soon. So we all can move on. And it's a great day. Imagine that baseball stadium. And I'm not sure it's going to be down on the water. It may be someplace else. I think Ybor is the leading candidate. I think the fairgrounds is still a possibility. I do not think Ray J or that footprint is viable anymore. The dog track site might be viable. And as Ken Hagan said last week, there may be some other places we haven't thought of. But I know this group has deep pockets. They will privately finance a large portion of this stadium and the entertainment district around it, as to make sure there's plenty of money left over for the Bucs and whatever they need, which I know has been a bit of a sticking point for a lot of you. But that's the plan. Now, plans change. Economies change, situations change, things can change. But you have to plan. And what I see as a future for this franchise on and off the field is unlike anything we've ever seen before. And it's what we've always needed to do. Now, I don't want to rehash the entire history of how we got this baseball team or how Major League Baseball never wanted the team to be in St. Petersburg, not because it's not a great, wonderful, beautiful city full of amazing people and the best beaches in the world, but because demographically it doesn't work for baseball. You got to have 1.5 million people within a 30-minute drive for the Monday to Thursday games for this thing to work. And it just doesn't work there. It's a failed location. Not a failed city, a failed location. And Paul Wilson's going to talk about Rick Baker's idea into making the Tropicana Field site this jewel of a downtown park with all kinds of different things that could be the envy of many major cities. That's just one idea. People have floated the idea of a convention center, and all those things that were going to be built there with the Trop can all be built in a bigger and better way, in ways that return investment instead of handing billions to a billionaire. A much better idea for downtown St. Petersburg. Lots of great ideas. You don't need Major League Baseball. You have an incredible cultural vibe in downtown St. Pete. You have big-time sports. You got the Grand Prix. You got the Rowdies, a lot of events. You have the most amazing beaches in the world, and that's what butters your bread. That's where the focus should be. Tourism, heads in beds, credible downtown. So we can come over there and listen to great music and go to amazing restaurants and have that beautiful pier and everything and the beaches. That's what you bring to Tampa Bay. The airports, the stadiums, that's on the other side. That's where congestion is, right? That's where all roads lead to. That's where people from Orlando and Lakeland and other parts can easily access these stadiums. That's where that part is. That's what our part of Tampa Bay is. That's what we do over here. It's the business hub. Yours is the playtime hub. And business, of course, but just wonderful. That's Tampa Bay. Not Tampa, not St. Pete, not Clearwater. It's Tampa Bay. And I think this is time for everyone to come together and not say, oh, they're stealing our baseball team. Oh, we hate the people of Tampa. No. We're making it better for everybody. A new ownership group that can come in and build a vibrant stadium entertainment complex with millions of dollars in jobs and billions of dollars in development and more residential and more everything for people to enjoy. And we keep our baseball team. And we don't need the welfare anymore of Major League Baseball. We can do this on our own. We're big. We're 11th largest market with the 15th largest market down the road. This is an ownership group that is going to give Eric Neander, and we don't know this for a fact, but I have a pretty good hunch that he's going to stick around. We're not going to become the Dodgers' $300 million payroll and change the way we do not everything. In my estimation, you're not messing with any of the baseball operations. You're just giving Eric Neander a little bit more leash to work with. So when he goes to make a trade, instead of, we don't have any significant payroll, it's like, hey, you get the right player and he makes $20 million a year and he's a veteran hitter who's performed in the postseason. Let's make the deal. Eureka. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, it would. Kyle Tucker's one of the best players in baseball. He wants to play in Tampa Bay. He's told me that. He'd love to come home, but he can't play in the Trop. Kills his knees. Would he love to play for a homegrown ownership group here in Tampa? 1,000%. We can do that. This group has the money. We can do that. We can be a big-time player in Major League Baseball. We don't have to be on welfare anymore. Yes, we've won games with Stu Sternberg. Absolutely. He gets full credit for that, for putting together a brain trust in Eric Neander in the front office that has done incredible things with a pittance of money. You cannot tell me that this team cannot be better and win world championships with more payroll. You cannot tell me that's not a reality. I don't believe that. You give Eric Neander $150, $130 million payroll, this team will be better. It will be deeper, in my opinion. And I think that's obvious. And this ownership group has no intentions of blowing up the baseball side. Now, if Eric Neander decides he doesn't want to work, I don't know why he would do that. Why he wouldn't want to see his work that he's done so far carried through to a world championship. Why would he not want to do that? Of course he would. I've seen him do interviews with Major League Baseball. We saw it in the winter meetings where the guys were up there, kind of ribbing him in a backhanded kind of way that, yeah, I know you can't go out and get that guy. And he, laughed. He'd love to. Of course he would. So as we sit here this morning, it's a bright day for the Rays. They've never been, I don't know if I've ever seen them play better baseball. This sweep of the Royals, 19 innings by the starters, no runs. Shane Baz goes 8 yesterday, retires 16 in a row, 19 in a row. Guy's on fire. Taj Bradley came out of a coma and had perfects, came into the 6th inning. His pitching staff's insane. But you know what? They need, as we spoke about yesterday with Orestes Estrada, they need an experienced arm in the back of the bullpen and an experienced hitter for the postseason. You know what that costs? Money. Could this new ownership group be part of making that happen? Yes. I think that's possible. Now, these, again, conceptually, this is what I'm telling you, what I think is going to happen. I'm not sitting here reporting that the deal is done. I'm telling you from what I know and what I've learned this week, it's never been closer. I've never been more optimistic. And I can see a stadium in Tampa Bay, located in Ybor City. I can see the whole region coming together in an endeavor that benefits everyone. Finally, we can start developing in Tampa and start developing the Trop site. Finally, one person is not holding all that up. Finally, we don't have to be on baseball's welfare check anymore. We can do this on our own and build a beautiful state-of-the-art stadium in a location that everyone can access with owners that we can support. We've never done that. We've never had that. The Marlins have never had that. Everybody wants to say that baseball sucks in Florida. Look at how we've done it. Everything wrong. You put a stadium in the right location, that's a state-of-the-art, inspirational, aspirational ballpark that people want to come to for more than just baseball, because that's how it's done now. With an ownership group they can fully support. Complete game changer. Complete freaking game changer. Now, will they pack in 35,000 every night? No, nobody does that anymore. That's just not part of our landscape. Can they average 20 to 25? Yeah, I think they can. And that'll be fine. That'll be fine. That's success. That's success. And I think the on-field success will continue and maybe even get better. So it's a bright day in Tampa Bay. Not for Wander Franco. We'll get to that.
JP, look how bright that starburst is shining
Jesus.
right now. Look how bright that is.
Get that off my screen. And that's going, boy. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So bright. It's
Yeah,
blinding.
it is though. It is though. I think it is a bright day in Tampa Bay, and I'm so excited. I hope the fans are, because I just I really feel like we have it's stadium fatigue, it's Stu fatigue, it's all that, and we're still winning baseball games. We're still supporting the team, and I think it's going to get 2-3-fold of that. I think the ratings go up. I think it's going to be, if they do this the right way, and I think they can, it's going to be the Lightning plus baseball. The Lightning Jeff Vinnick and the Lightning have created a brand out of hockey in the Southeast. Very few people grew up, especially guys my age, playing hockey. And if you're 40 or older, you didn't grow up playing hockey, or 30 or older, you didn't grow up playing hockey. You grew up playing baseball. But they did it because they have a great stadium, a great location, and an owner that's beloved, and they win. The Rays win, but they've never had the stadium, and they've never had the location. And they've rarely had ownership, except for the Davidson group early on, that they could really wrap their arms around until Jeff Vinnick came along. It's not rocket science. Location, stadium, community relations, and win. And the Rays that got the hard part down, they win. That's the hard part. Now let's bring everything else together. And I think it's going to be freaking awesome. And I cannot wait.
And then for the cherry on top of the sundae, JP, they're going to bring back the name Devil Rays.
I don't know that for sure. We haven't talked about that.
Oh, okay.
But I think maybe, yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Reporting on my part.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I like the Rays anyway. I like the Rays, but the whole Stunburst thing just kind of, it's kind of.
Well, even when they were the Devil Rays, you shortened it to Rays in conversation.
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly.
So, I
exactly.
get it, but
so
still,
yeah.
that logo was badass, man, with the Devil Ray on it.
Yeah, I think we bring that back. Let's get the comments first, and then we'll get to Wander. I think that's the way we should play this today, because we got a ton of people jumping in here this morning. And once again, thank you guys so much for joining us here this morning. And by the way, if you want to support our independent journalism and media here, you got the QR code we were going to put up there. I'll put it up on social media, because people keep telling me you need to have your QR code up there so we can donate to the show. I'm like, we've kind of not done that, but I think we're going to start doing that. Everybody else is, so why not, right?
So there's
everybody else is asking you to donate to journalism. Yeah, I sent it to you. I'll send it to you again. All right, so let's get to it. The great Al Bushman said, with Kim coming back, what roster move do the Rays make? Ooh, that's interesting. I say Meade goes down. Meade goes down, and Meade and Morrell are the weak links. Even though they've both been playing better lately, I think just in general we could say that. Yeah, and good riddance to Wander. We'll get to that in a second. I want to kind of go more with this theme that we started with the monologue. LFG Tampa, hell yeah. Sergio says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy Friday. Wander is done with playing baseball in MLB, and that conviction, I imagine. Yes, he is done. Mm-hmm. He ain't playing again.
We'll play down there.
Yeah, I tell you what, that DR league's got some good arms. He'll face some good competition in that DR league, prison league. But he's not even going to prison.
No,
he's not even going to prison.
Nope. But the mother is.
Yeah. All right. So a lot of you are commenting on Franco. So let's just go ahead and get to that. So Wander Franco gets no jail time, but the mom gets 10 years. Like, I don't want to cast any aspersions on the Dominican Republic legal system. I don't know much about it, but that seems really effed up. And it seems like the guy that has the money ain't going to jail, and the person that doesn't is. That's very American, come to think of it.
So the official ruling was a 2-year prison sentence. It was suspended, though, for Franco.
The real penalty for him really is the fact that he's not going to be able to get a work visa. And for the Rays, they can terminate the contract. So that's not on the books anymore. So maybe that, one of the sticking points, or maybe something that the new ownership group was waiting to see shoe drop, because that's significant, $170 million. I don't know what's left on it. I think 164 is left on it. So that comes off the books, terminated. And that's obviously good for the sale. It's good for the Rays because they can now use that money to operate instead of giving it to a convicted felon. So that's good. It's hard to really measure the epic fall of this young man. Literally a superstar from the day he was signed at 16 in 265, or sorry, in the 2 years that he played, an 11.4 WAR, which is insane. 30 home runs, 282 average, 130 RBIs in 265 games, 798 OPS. It's unbelievable. Signed an 11-year, $182 million contract and just flushed it down the toilet because he got involved with a minor. And we weren't there. We don't know what happened, but according to the case, he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old. And he's always going to be a sex offender, and you're not getting a work visa, especially from this administration. Maybe the last, but not this one. You're not going to get a work visa with that. His time is done in Major League Baseball, and rightfully so. And the Rays don't have to deal with it. But it's stunning to see what happened to this young man. And, it was interesting when he first came up, and I'm not saying that this means, it's all cause and effect. But the fact that, he exhibited some very immature behavior from the very beginning. Very immature. Lavish spending, just very individualized stuff. So much so that the manager had to come out and say he's being a bad teammate. I've never seen that before. So there was a lot of immaturity here. And frankly, even if, Wander, and there was just this, during that time for Rays baseball, this culture just changed, and it culminated in a couple of really bad finishes and bad seasons. And so, frankly, even if Wander would have stuck around, I don't know if the culture would be like it is today. What they have now going now with this team first approach, leave it for the next guy. I don't know, because that wasn't what Wander was all about. So I think in the long run, this organization is better off that their best prospect flamed out. Because if the Rays, listen, I'm sure the Rays tried to reach the kid and tried to change him and tried to mentor him. At least I hope they did. My sense is they did, and they just couldn't get him. For a time there, they didn't have a lot of leadership in the clubhouse. So it's a sad end to what could have been one of the most promising careers. But it's also instructive to the Rays as an organization that, and again, I don't know if this is an organizational thing that you can blame. I wasn't close enough to it, to be quite honest. But you would hope that these young players that they pick up in the future, they would have better judgment, and this stuff wouldn't happen because clearly there were issues. But it's over with, and I think it comes at a good time. I think it's very symbolic, quite frankly, that on this day where I feel like there is a new horizon for this team off the field and leadership wise in this community, that this thing just went away, and it's gone, and we don't have to worry about it, talk about it anymore. It's like all that bad juju that is built up over the past 15 years off the field, 20 years, whatever it is, the stadium saga, ownership, all this stuff. We're moving on. And that's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
How long do we have to wait for your 30 for 30? You better jump on it because somebody else.
I don't know how long all the NDAs are, but we're getting in there. Jeff Stutler says GM, JP, and Tim get Franco money back to the Rays and use that for boat parade when Stu is gone. Don't forget to invite me to the
Man, that'd be a hell of a boat parade with that money.
Damn. No, well, you know what? Give us $500K, and then the rest let's put back into the team.
Yeah.
Unlike What the
that
old
won't even
owner used
cover
to
my
be.
beer cost. $500K.
Yeah. Tampa Bay says, is the Rays deal going to include the Times too? Stu obviously owns them. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I think there's going to be some interesting thing that happens. Bucks Race Bowl says we know Stu going used Franco money. I don't know what. I'm not going to go there. The B says obviously you talked to Paul and are aware he's going to say Rays should go to Tampa. You're not bringing him on to say St. Pete is better. No, we don't do that here, B. We let people have their own opinion. We don't prep people. We don't have an agenda.
He gave his opinion the other day when he was on.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't coached.
No, nor would he be. Nor would he if I tried to coach him.
He would do that anyway.
I can do what you say. We can talk about it. We don't do that, B. I know you may come from a place and a philosophy that does that. We don't do that here.
Gentlemen, we got a big fucking problem.
There you go. Joe Dabrowski said, I thought the LOI had a very short window, only a week or two. No, it's a month. It's a 30-day LOI, and it can be extended easily. But it may not need to be. That's the good news. Let's see here. Jimmy V. Voyager, I haven't seen you in here. Thanks for jumping in. Live in Pinellas County and support the move to Tampa. Love the fan to say that if they move across the bay, they won't go. You don't go now, LOL, so no loss there. True. Yeah.
By the way,
go ahead.
Lonnie Wilkins is right on par here. He said Tim's beer tab would be like the Blues Brothers. You guys made $500K, but you drank $700K worth of beer. You owe us $200,000.
Great scene.
Lonnie, have you been to parties with me before? I feel like you're a little close to the situation.
Yeah. Okay, let me go out to the car and get you a check.
Yeah,
we'll be right back.
That was a great scene.
The Winnebago chase.
Good Lord.
Or Bob's Beer Barn or whatever the hell it was.
That was the first rated R movie I ever saw on my own. I snuck into the movie theater to see it.
Joe says this is bigger than the Glazers securing the Bucks from the Culver House Trust. I don't know about that. This NFL, but it's when we voted for the stadium, 51-49 to build a $200 million Raymond James Stadium to keep our NFL team and host 3 Super Bowls. How'd that work out?
Pretty good.
Pretty damn good. Pretty good investment. Let's see. I'm not going to do your negativity, B. The people, if they want to read it, we can read it.
A lot of negativity in the comments today, too, shockingly.
Unity in the community. I've heard that since the days of CT more than 25 years ago. Yeah, he was a big component of that. Chris Thomas, let's try to get it finally going. We can get there, folks. We can get there. Danny Boycane says Ybor Harbor is going to get done. When you brought up that tweet of you driving in this morning, I told me that Ybor Harbor is looking more and more like the choice of the ballpark. The question I would have is how far would it be from the new Brightline station that's coming online in the next few years? You have a trolley station 5 blocks south of the ballpark, public station. That's a win-win. Well, of course, those trolley stations can be easily extended. That's not hard. So when the Brightline station comes right in there, I think you have a trolley station nearby, so you could jump right on, from Orlando there and then jump right in. So, yeah, the good news is there'll be that mass transit train coming into downtown Tampa, not far from where this baseball stadium would be. Now, the old location, I think, was like 2 blocks away. If it were Ybor Harbor, I'd say it's closer to 6, which is very walkable. Very walkable. Stephanie Lanes says, Lane says, on the water, they would really live up to the name Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, we could have a Rays tank that's Tampa Bay. That could be our Rays tank. Rick says, Stu Diem deal. I see what you did there. Studium
instead of stadium. Studium.
Gotcha. Tampa Bay says Ybor Harbor is the best spot in my opinion, but the dry docks are still there, so a new stadium will take a lot longer to build, I think. Actually, I spoke with someone last night familiar with that area, and I asked them about that. Like, you got obviously toxic chemicals that have been on that site for quite some time. He said the positive to that is you get federal government money to help prepare the property. So that's good. But it might take a little bit longer. Yeah, I would agree with that. But I mean, how long have we waited? 20 years. Joe says dog track on Florida Avenue doesn't have a good neighborhood around it. No, it really doesn't, but that could change.
Yeah.
Rick says, I like how when JP starts his monologue on Stadium Talk, Tim drops out. It's like hearing all his ex-wives bitching at the same time.
I was just giving JP the entire platform. That's all I was doing.
Thank you.
Nobody sees to me. Look at me over here rolling my eyes.
Even better. Daniel likes, I like the dog track site, says easy access from 275. You have 3 bus routes in that area. Nobody's taking a bus to the game. So I don't know. Just saying, I don't like that site. I don't like it. If they have to use it, fine, but I don't like it. Turned 66 this week, says KW Malls. Will I see the Rays play in a new stadium before I'm dead?
I think so.
Well, we got 2 equations there.
Depending on what your health is.
How you feeling? What's the health look like? I don't know. What's going on in the world may all be dead by then. Who knows? Supreme B says vote JP for Tampa Bay's mayor. Huh. Supreme
B related to just regular B?
I don't know.
So now we have the Supreme B and now we have the inferior B.
I like Supreme B.
Regular B.
I like regular B's can be very nasty. Supreme B we like. I don't know. What do you guys? You think I should run?
What would your platform be?
More
sports.
Getting rid of Stu would be gone. So check that off already. I would be very pro business. I think we're not going there just yet. But I'll think about it.
He would run on a platform that shuts down all terrestrial radio stations in the area.
Oh, they're doing a great job of that themselves.
Right. You wouldn't have to do anything.
There's good radio in this market. It just doesn't have to be on the sports. A lot of great people out there. Good opening, JP, and I agree with you, Jeff Stutler. Thank you, partner. Kenneth McClary says, how about the Tampa Bay Rays going to Kansas City where they hadn't played well and sweep the series, and Boz showed up with 8 innings of shutout baseball. Unbelievable. Could not be better. Right? They're just playing such great baseball. Power, contact, speed, offensively, bunting. I mean, it's defensively. How about the Taylor Walls double play that ends the game? Holy hell. I mean, they got it all, and they're doing it all. Yeah, and I think, when Zach Littell said it in spring training, that there was a lot of shenanigans going on here for the last couple of years, and they've cleared out a lot of those players. And I think the group that they have now is a much better mix, and it's Rays baseball like it used to be. Everybody's busting their ass the first. Everybody's hustling their ass off. Everybody's doing the right things behind closed doors and on the field. So yeah, I think it's a total remake, and obviously it's something that needed to be done.
And JP, all of that leads up to this right here.
How about that? What was it, about 2 weeks ago when the Rays? I told you to go. They were 6 games out. I said, go put some money on them to win the AL East.
Half the game.
I wish I would have put more.
We could wake up tomorrow and they could be in first place.
That's right. Danny, intern Danny, when do we play the Yankees again? Find that out for me, please. Nistified. I like it. Good seeing you in here, Nistified. So when the Rays move to Ybor, can St. Pete fans skip the traffic too, or are we supposed to sing Kumbaya and make the trip for the greater good of Tampa Bay?
You go to a baseball game if you want to go to a baseball game. Nobody's going to make you go.
Hey, Nistified, when I sing Kumbaya when I go to the beach? Takes me 45 minutes to get there, but I love it. Yeah. I don't.
Why does it have to be a fight?
Exactly. I don't get it. This whole idea of, it's fair that we have the Rays because you have. First of all, it's not us versus you versus us. It's like this is together. Just because the bridge happens to be there. I mean, if there wasn't a bridge, would you drive it? And that's going both ways. And I get that. But the problem is Monday through Thursday. It's just a time thing. So listen, and so we don't expect everybody from Pinellas to drive over and back every Monday through Thursday. No, come on the weekends. Support the team on the weekends when the drive is better. We've got 2.4 million people within 30 miles to support it Monday through Thursday. That's the point. You only have 600,000. And most of you leave town during the summer, rightfully so. And a lot of you just don't support it over there. It doesn't fit demographically for the population over there. And that's just facts. So listen, we don't expect you, Nistified, to drive over Monday through Thursday, but we do expect you to go to 10 games a year, 5 to 10 games a year. And if everybody does that, we'll be fine. Does that make sense, Nistified? Because I want you to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. We don't expect you to drive over during school and busy week when you got to go to work. It's going to be a longer drive. I get it. So, thank you, though. What? Yankees in New York when? July 28th. Okay. So we got some time before we have to overtake them. We'll be in first by that time.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right, just do one more, and then we'll hit the break. Kyle Tucker is the exact player we need offensively and defensively in the outfield. Isn't that interesting? I know it won't happen, but I agree, JP. Just imagine if we can start getting guys like that. Too bad every other team also feels the same way about Tucker. He will sign for $500 million somewhere. Yeah, he's getting his money, but he will give us a discount. I think absolutely he will give the Rays a hometown discount. Not much. Jason Romano's rolling over in his grave right now. But here's the difference. It's not like he's Scott Boras' client, and Scott tells him what he's going to get and runs the deal. Kyle's his own man. That's why he has Excel as his management, so as he can tell his manager what he wants to do for what money. So yeah, no, he's not giving you a $300 million Stu Sternberg discount, but I think he would give a significant discount to come home and play in the right situation. I know he's told us. So yeah. But again, we're not talking about hundreds of millions of dollars here, but that's where but you know what? That's the deal. If we want him to come here, we got to pay him, but we can do that. Don't be so brainwashed. Oh, it's a small market team. We can't afford it. I'm very uncomfortable going to a $90 million payroll. Very uncomfortable. I won't be able to get clear $100 million this year, only 80. Oh, I'm very uncomfortable, says Stu Sternberg. Yeah, we don't have to listen to that garbage anymore. Thank God. All right, let's we got so many comments, can't get to them all in the first break. So we are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JeevesLawGroup.com, JEEVES, lawgroup.com. I'm so excited. Got to slow on down. This is the Jeeves Law Group studio, by the way. Beautiful South Tampa here. They're local, they're trusted, and they get results. He's got an office in St. Pete and Tampa. How about that? That's unity in the community right there.
He doesn't choose sides.
No, he supports everybody. That's what we all should be doing. We support everything, the whole Tampa Bay region. That's what the Jeeves Law Group done. They're local, so they know the local legal landscape in St. Pete and Tampa. That's important, and that's why he should represent you. JeevesLawGroup.com and OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Jason Fawcett, the owner over there, says, give me a call. I'll give you a free consultation. I'll come out to your house, take a look at it, give you some ideas of what you could do, either adding on or renovating, whatever you want to do. Or maybe if you get damage from a hurricane, you're already on the preferred client list, so you'll get service first. That's important. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Although it may seem tempting to go without healthcare insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669 813-877-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call, so why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by those great folks at Riveters. We will be there tomorrow night for a special edition of the JP Peterson Show, 7 to 9 o'clock at Riveters, Tampa. We got the UFC event going on tomorrow, UFC 317, I believe it is, big fight. So get on out there. We'll bring some of our shirts. You want a FanStream Sports shirt? I don't have any hats left. So
they're coming. They're coming.
So, but we got lots of cool T-shirts. So come on out. We'll have those, and we'll talk some Rays baseball, talk some Bucks, talk some UFC, have some fun, and then watch the fights. Might even gamble on some of the fights. You guys know we don't talk a whole lot of UFC here. I don't. I'm just looking for some experts. So if you're a UFC expert, and you want to come over and join me.
JP, we're trying to book Milan Jordan, who for years did the UFC MMA Daily Blitz for FanStream Sports.
Oh,
here.
Can we get him on?
We're working on it. So he kind of works in the industry. So he's trying to find out if he's going to have time to pop on before, because he may be busy doing other media responsibilities. But
okay,
if not, he's going to join us either by phone or by video.
Are you going to join me, or are you going to be out partying?
Maybe both.
Oh, okay. No, I'm down with that. I wish you could come. Like, just be there, sit next to me, have some of the wings.
One of these days, man. One of these days.
Yeah, I'm going to be chowing down on some wings and some beer, Get ready to watch the fights. We're going to be in Baltimore, right? What time's game time tomorrow or Saturday? We have a night game, right? Is that a night game? Danny, check that out. Check the schedule. So we can watch some Rays baseball too at Riveters. So stop by for happy hour today. Starts at 3:00. You get the $3 domestics, $5 wells, all the great food, which is they have the specials on the wings. You get 8 big wings for $12, or you get the chicken dip for $8. They have all kinds of specials going on. The tacos, the ribeye tacos are amazing.
Saturday's at 4:05.
Oh, is it? Okay, so it'll just be locking up by the time we start. So, but lots of fun and watching. And by the way, I was over there yesterday, talking to Andres, the owner manager, about football season. We're very excited about football season. What's going to be happening at Riveter? So we got all kinds of different specials going on. They're the home of the Gator Club, so all the Gator games will be on over there. I'll be watching. That's going to be a great season for the Florida Gators. I predict they have a huge year this year. So that's where the Gators watch. You can watch your Seminole games there too. We'll be watching FSU games there because it's the best place to watch games. So there you go.
What about when they're on at the same time?
Well, then it'll be a feud. We'll have a feud going.
I love that, man.
Yeah, we'll have one side FSU watch and then the other side Florida watch.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, if they're on at the same time, so that'd be fun. So yeah, cannot wait for football season. The opener, August 30th, 3:30, FSU, Alabama. I think it's a 3:30 start. That's gonna be fantastic. And ESPN's not going to show up for Lee Corso's final game.
Oh,
boy, they hate us. They hate us.
They do. They do.
All right. So we got to the Wonder stuff and everything else. I want to get to some more comments as well here before we move on to some other things. Because we always like to have you guys involved in this whole thing. Let's go to Richie P. Good morning to you. Says, LOL, the guy that rode on the Lola Express is the guy that drops the hammer on the pens. For all your good takes, you definitely wear rose red shades.
Wow.
Oh, well, I'm open-minded. Let's just put it that way. I'm open-minded. I can see more than one direction. Young Swag 59 said, do you think Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker would sign with the Rays under Zalupski? And do you think he refreshes the uniforms to be more like the City Connect Devil Rays? I'm not a big fan of the City Connects, as you know. I do like the Rays crisp blue, the crisp blue ones with the Tampa Bay, the blue and white. Those are
Don't they always have the
favorite.
starburst on those blue ones though? Like in that, those go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think kind of. Yeah, but I like that crisp blue uniform. I'm not a big uniform by the way, unless they're just really bad. Like the Buccaneers alarm clock. Those are horrible.
Those were the
Rays
worst,
green
man.
vests. If you remember those were terrible. All the Devil Ray stuff I love. The white Devil Rays with the multicolors. Those are awesome. Those are fantastic. All right, what else we got? You see some. You can throw some of those up there if you'd like to in the comments.
Oh Lord,
section.
Here we go. Don't throw Andrew Berry under the bus. He didn't do anything to you.
What? Tiller GTO said, I enjoy talking to you at Lightning games. The work you do is above and beyond any other sports journalist in Tampa Bay. So thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't know I read that before I put it up. I did not know where that was going because but I thank you very, very much. Tony, what does Tony Stonk say? Did we announce the surprise yet? Is there a surprise? What is that avatar?
Somebody mentioned you have a surprise announcement, but you did it just to get viewers. So
the cryptic thing last night. Yeah, well, that was the monologue. Yeah,
that was the monologue. Very beginning of the show.
Yeah, that's kind of what that was. So yeah, Hunter Tubb says, any pregame shows next week at Riveters next week with the A's series? I think we might do one before the day game on Wednesday. So kind of a lunch thing, kind of do the 10 to 12 show there. So you guys show up early and kind of sit and listen to the show. And would you do that, Hunter, if you're going to go to the games for the day game? We could do one on Tuesday night too for the night game. But I was kind of going towards doing a little lunch thing. So we only have to do one show that day. See what I did there?
Work smart, not hard.
Yep. Riza, as another new viewer in here, thank you for commenting. Said, I hope new ownership leaves the baseball ops untouched, build a new stadium, more payroll, and leans back into the throwback gradient colors with a slight rebrand. Bingo. That's the plan. That is the plan to a T. So, yeah. Don't touch baseball ops. Build new stadium, more payroll, and go and lean into not only the throwbacks but the alumni. I think that's something that the Rays really haven't embraced. The Wade Boggs, the Fred McGriffs. Let's bring Jose Canseco back for a death match with some midgets. I think doesn't he do that thing? Doesn't he do midget wrestling? I can't say that anymore. What is it, dwarf? Small people? I don't know.
They're still midgets.
They don't mind you. They do that over at the patio. We have
the midget wrestling here down the street of the bar.
It's freaking awesome.
It's amazing.
It's so good. They have a show. They have a show on Bravo, I think.
So for those of you that are wrestling, like regular wrestling fans, you're probably familiar with my buddy Rick, the sign guy, Ockberger. He's a guy in the red hat, the blue shirt that always has the weird signs, and sometimes they'll have him come into the ring or whatever. They make him part of the show sometimes, but he holds these big signs that are slamming the wrestlers, and it's all part of the show, But he's based here in Dallas. He's a good friend of mine. So we went to the midget wrestling thing a couple of years ago with him, and he arranged this ahead of time with the promoters of the midget wrestling thing. So he shows up at midget wrestling in his marquee red hat backwards, his blue mechanic shirt. So he's very identifiable. But all of the signs that he held up were on 3x5 cards. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
That's awesome. See, we can laugh. We can laugh at that. There's nothing wrong with that. Lee Bomar says, "Do Rays have a good ring to it?"
He's been on the Jacksonville Rays thing all morning.
Has he?
Yeah, in the comments. Yeah,
He
still swears that they're going to Jacksonville.
Orlando Dreamers, Jacksonville. What do we call the Jacksonville? If we have the Orlando Dreamers, the Jacksonville's what are that? What's
could they still be the Devil Rays? Because are there Rays over there? Never been to Jacksonville.
I think there's Rays on the East Coast. Too bad new ownership plans on changing the name to Sea Cows, per my insider.
Maybe if they're in Jacksonville.
I think Lee Bomar is like Rick. I don't think we're
some of the women over there in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Wait, Jeff Sutler says I second JP for mayor.
Yeah. You're getting votes already.
Wow. Bob Buckhorn, watch out. New competition in town. I've told you this privately, Tim. 2 people have asked me if I want to run for mayor.
Yeah, you have.
And I'm like, no. Maybe.
I'll be your lieutenant mayor.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do I need to establish
what party we're going to be in? Nothing says local party like knowing the numbered bus routes. Waters in the, I know, Ricky. That is impressive, Daniel. That is impressive. Tar and Feather Stu Sternberg says Muslim
Adam Sandler.
Huh. Figuratively, journalistically, can we do it?
We've kind of been doing that.
Yeah, we kind of. What else we got? Yes, we're playing the Yankees on July 28th in the Bronx, 4-game series. 100. You going up to that? Good luck. Will they still have the NYPD at that time?
Yeah, might not be safe.
Will it just be a Muslim state by then? Hey, we can play our World Series in New York. No, thank you.
With no police presence.
Everybody wants to bring back the Devil Rays. I think it's very popular.
Yeah.
Daniel Rivera said, did the St. Pete folks forget we have a Cross Bay ferry that you can take to downtown Tampa? That's right. 45 minutes. I think we still have that, right?
What is there to do on the ferry for 45 minutes? They have like video games. They have like, is there a bar?
Yeah. So dude,
that's the best kind of ferry. There you go. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Tony Stark is in. What's the surprise? Oh, you already said that. Just bait and boost. I did it. That was the first monologue, knucklehead. Shut up. We also need New Jersey that actually say Tampa Bay across the front. It says Stefan Gonzalez. Yep. There's always been kind of we're not going to do that type thing because the folks in St. Petersburg didn't like it.
What is so most of the time teams wear the city that they represent on the road.
Right.
And then they wear their whatever on their home. So what do they have on does it say Rays on the road jerseys too?
Yeah, I think it does.
Huh.
The only Tampa Bay stuff we have are TB on the hat.
Right.
I don't know. We used to have Tampa Bay, but I don't know. I don't pay attention to the uniforms like so many people do.
And I do.
I just really don't. I just like, oh, that looks good, or oh, that looks bad. Michael Lewis says, when is the Times hit piece on Patrick Zalewski coming out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just says Rays.
I don't know. All we know is that they were fishing around, and I predicted it. I didn't say it was definitely coming out. So maybe they're thinking twice about that now that they may know that he's going to be the new owner, and maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe. Huh. I hope. And again, I said this. There's fair reporting to be done there. There's no question about it. The question is the timing of it. Do they connect it to Ron DeSantis in some nefarious way, like they've been wont to do? And how do they play it? That's what's important. And I know we had a commenter yesterday, Nadia, who was corresponding with the reporter who's doing it, and the reporter was asking questions like, why would we want to do a hit piece, or why would we want to do this? Why would and again, it's fair reporting, no question about it. But it's all how it's presented. And, I just asked the question, where was the reporting on the lawsuit, Stu Sternberg's lawsuit? It was one of the biggest, should have been one of the biggest stories in our area. And I know it's kind of hard to cover because a lot of people didn't want to talk, but we cover stories like that all the time. And there was a lot in there. It was a lot in there. And so much of it was not really followed up on. So I don't know. I'm not in their newsroom. I don't know how it works, but we do know that they were poking around, and we're going to find some. They're going to find some stuff. That's for sure. But I'll just be interested to see how it's all handled. Buck Spaceman said, I just want the new management to spend. I haven't bought a Rays players jersey in almost a decade because this team does not keep their homegrown talent.
It's fair.
It's true. Like, what do you can't fall in love with anybody. You just can't. They'll divorce them in a heartbeat. Michael LaRue says, why hasn't Gage Gonsalves received a qualifying offer from the Lightning yet? It's a good question. And I wanted to talk about the Lightning draft. In fact, this might be a good time to take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back on the other side. The Lightning do not have a first-round pick, but they have a first-round pick to deal. The Hobie Baker Award winner and Isaac Howard. So how does that play into this draft? I think it's very important, and I think we could see a big move. So we will talk about that when we come back. Italiano Insurance is the place you need to go to make sure you're fully insured with your house, auto, everything. You're with a good company that if you have to make a claim, they're going to actually pay out and not fight you tooth and nail. So Italiano Insurance will help you get with the right company, make sure you're fully insured, and get you the best price. They do all the work. You get all the benefits. ItalianoInsurance.com or 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Celebrate summer with the largest jewelry collection at the Gold and Diamond Source. Yes, summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them the perfect thing for any summer occasion. Celebrate the milestone of a 30th anniversary with the timeless beauty of pearl, the traditional stone for this very special occasion. Right now, enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. You can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with zero interest over 5 years. Shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones that include pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone, the perfect opportunity to add a touch of summer sparkle to your collection. As always, make the summer unforgettable and visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, the only place to get that unforgettable engagement ring. Great folks over there. Tell them JP sent you. 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on this Friday. If you're just joining us, you can always rewind on whatever platform you're on. Rewind back to the beginning. You can catch our monologue where I said today I've never been more optimistic that the Rays will be sold and a stadium will be built in Tampa. And you can get all the other stuff from that absolutely rousing monologue that we had earlier today. I want to remind you folks, the Golden Diamond Source is always the place to go shopping. It's summertime, so a lot of people get engaged during the summer. Go to these beautiful places, and like Jeff Bezos is getting married in Venice today. He's spending $1 billion on his wedding.
What is wrong with him? He just got divorced.
Yeah,
and gave away all his money.
Why
would you do that again?
I don't know. So he can have $1 billion wedding and show off his wealth, but you don't need $1 billion to buy a ring at the Golden Diamond Source. See what I did there? In fact, you don't need a whole lot of money at all. The 0% financing, you can get a $5,000 diamond for just $83. So you don't have that excuse. I don't have the money, honey. You do. Just go over there and get some financing, 0%, and get a nice big ring. Do not get a fake ring. Do not start your relationship like that. I admonish you. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, Julian Steve Weintraub. Great local company, great local folks that do so much in the community. So we like to keep it local here. Goldanddiamond.com is the website. Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, just over the bridge if you're coming from Tampa to St. Pete, where we all have unity in the community. How do you think about that? All right, so the Lightning draft gets started tonight. Well, the NHL draft gets started. By the way, there's a new CBA agreement that should be announced today. They're moving to 84 games instead of 82. The LTIR, if I'm saying that correctly, scheme that people accuse the Lightning of using and the Panthers and the Vegas, all that will be no more. There will be a salary cap in the postseason, so you won't be able to take care of.
That is the long-term injured reserve.
Yes. So that's going away. I'm trying to remember what else was in there that was big. Mostly that stuff. So that's good. That's good. I think that's good for the NHL in general. So
yeah, even things out a little bit.
And there's a lot of stuff in there about money, postseason money, and all that for the players and stuff. And the cap's going to continue to go up. So, and what it means mostly is peace. Things are good in the NHL. Teams are selling for more money than they ever have. The money's good. Sport is growing. So they're in good shape, and they're not going to have a work stoppage, unlike baseball, which probably will. So anyway, so the Lightning do not have a first-round pick tonight. They have 7 picks. They have number 2 at 56 overall. Wasn't Kucherov 56th? He was a second-round pick, but I happen to just remember that he might be in the 56 overall pick. Danny, check me out on that. They have a 4th-round pick, a 5th rounder, and 4 selections in the 7th round.
58.
So they found some good players in the 7th round and the 2nd round too. So as I mentioned, they also have Isaac Howard, who was who was their first-round pick in 2022. He is unwilling to sign with the Lightning. He wants to go straight to the NHL, so we haven't been able to work out a deal with him. So there is some thought that the Hobey Baker Award winner, also the most points per game in NCAA last year. So he's a commodity. There's no question about it. He said he wants to go become a free agent next summer. So a lot of teams may not want to trade for him because they don't know if they can sign him. But my guess is through these last few months, all this has been going on, that some teams have identified themselves that may want him and have worked out a deal. So I wouldn't put that out of the realm. And don't forget, last year they did the Sergachev deal to get J.J. Moser and clear the cap space, so they could add more players, and they did. They remade the lineup, obviously, and it was absolutely fantastic job done by JBB to get Gensel, who was the biggest free agent ad in all of hockey last year. So I thought they had a great offseason last year. They just couldn't get over the Panthers, who were pretty good. Turned out to be pretty good. So Lightning are still very much in their championship window, I think. The only way they're going to add anything in this draft that's going to help them is if they make a big trade. And I just sense that, JBB doesn't like sitting still. If he was a poker player, I don't think he'd ever stand pat with that hand. I think he'd be jumping in, taking 4 or 5 cards every time. So, we'll see. He's got some ammunition. They only have about $3 million in cap space, though. So they're going to have to finagle kind of ins and outs. So, there might be some people gone and some new people coming in. All I know is when he makes moves, they usually work out for the Lightning.
Yep.
Usually. Not all the time, but usually. The Tanner Janot exception there. Anything else you'd like to add about the NHL draft?
No, I just I wish the NHL draft was a bigger thing. Like I get why it's not, but I hate that the NBA draft gets all that freaking media attention, and the MLB and NHL, like nobody even knows when they happen. They're so under the radar. But if you're a hockey fan, the NHL draft to me is just as much fun as watching the NFL draft. There's just as many storylines, and I don't know does ESPN have the coverage this year? I can't remember who has the coverage this year because it'll be on, or maybe it's probably NHL Network is probably what it's on.
Yeah, probably.
Usually they've got pretty good coverage of that stuff. So, and it's the same guys that you've got, in some of the studio shows. But the NHL draft to me is just as much fun as the NFL draft. I mean, there's just as many storylines.
Yeah, there's some great stories. They're just not as popular.
No,
as
if you're a big fan of college hockey like I am, man, I watch college hockey as often as I can. I love the Frozen Four, and some of these names if you watch some of that, and even some of the junior leagues, and you have a familiarity with these guys, so it's fun for me to watch. And we didn't get a chance to talk about the NBA draft much. I don't know why the NBA draft is such a show. Like, how do you get away with introducing all of the players that are going to be drafted before the draft? Like, did you see that? They introduce them and they all walk. It's like a game lineup before a game.
Well, because the NBA likes to promote players and not teams.
But how do you know they're going to be drafted? Like, what if one of those guys
they're already they're taking advantage of these guys' celebrity, social media following to start hyping them up.
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I hated it.
It's a weird deal. It is kind of a weird deal. CJ Rhodes said, late join here. Was Morrell traded for more Rays stadium seats? If only. If we could trade him for a couple of outfield bleachers for postseason. David Sampson was saying on his show, he reacted to one of my tweets, and I got to I wasn't able to see his whole show this morning about new ownership and then how I feel it's going to make the Rays better. I think he's friends with Stu. So I think his point is you don't want to change the winning formula. And now if the winning formula is just low payrolls, I got to have David on the show so we can debate this.
Yeah.
But I understand what he's saying. There's a culture of low payroll that, it's a hungry culture. And I think that's always been a part of the Rays winning formula. But I think if you augment that with a couple of veterans, you got a better chance of winning a World Series. Fair? Spend a little bit more money? We'll see. But I don't think, this new ownership group, there's no plans to touch baseball operations. And why would you do that? These are smart people. These are super smart people. So, yeah. We got some good comments in here today. Cleveland Browns GM currently in the DR looking to sign Wander to be their quarterback in 2028 when his sentence is done.
Why are we throwing Andrew Berry under the bus on the show? I don't understand. What does he have against the Browns?
Come on. By the way, we're looking for a Jacksonville name. Rick found it. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Of course he did.
The Orlando Dreamers, the new baseball group in Jacksonville, is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Of course he did.
All right, let's take this one on, shall we? There we go. There's the brain trust in Jacksonville. There's the Jacksonville Jaguars right there.
That's the Jaguars right there.
All in fun, guys. We love you in Jacksonville. All right. Adam says, hard to be the guy who calls for unity and peace after you won. When you were the one throwing the most darts. Sounds more like forget everything and give me my way. All right, Adam. First of all, I've never thrown darts. That is a lie. I have always said St. Pete is a wonderful city. It is a lovely city. Have I not, Tim?
No, you've always promoted.
As I said in my monologue here today, St. Pete doesn't need baseball, and it's a terrible place for baseball because of the Monday through Friday travel times, edge of the market, blah, blah, blah. So it has nothing. I love St. Pete. Is a better downtown than Tampa. I've always said that. It has better beaches than Tampa. Has a lot of better the bay, all the waterfront, all the water sports, the fishing, everything. It's beautiful. And that's what Pinellas County offers Tampa Bay. That's your thing. Our thing is to be the industrial hub, the airport hub, the stadium hub. That's what Tampa does. And then when we all come together as one, we all have a role to play. Right? Yeah, when I want to go to the beach, I got to drive to the beach. By the way, I lived in St. Pete when I first moved here. I worked in St. Pete at WTOG, Channel 44. I just didn't grow up here with this disunity in the community. the provincialism that people have. And I think is, more people transplanted in here don't look at it as St. Pete versus Tampa. And I don't even look at it as we won. That's not the way I look at it, Adam, because that's not, we is not Hillsborough County. I don't look at myself as a Hillsborough guy. I look at myself as a Tampa Bay guy. I grew up on the East Coast in Hollywood. So when I moved here, I always thought of Tampa Bay as one big metropolis. Just like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. It's just one big city. And, this us versus them mentality, I think, is really stupid and silly. So I don't get that. It's like, when I have to go to the beach, I have to drive over there. I don't bitch. Oh, I got to drive to the beach. I'm choosing to drive to the beach. Like, it's worth it. If you want to come to a game, at least they're not moving to Nashville like Stu wanted. So, I'm calling for unity in the community and everyone to come together because guess what? And Paul Wilson, we'll talk about this in a moment, lifetime St. Pete representative and resident, is that the opportunities of what you can do in that Tropicana field plot now is amazing. Rick Baker has a great idea to kind of make it a Central Park area and a place where people really want, that's something unique you can do now. And also add a lot of accoutrement, more residential, more parks, more. I mean, that sounds like an awesome thing to do. A really, really great idea. So what's a bad idea is building a baseball stadium, in my opinion. So, I'm calling for unity, Adam. And I never threw darts at St. Pete, ever. In fact,
you've always spoken very kindly of St. Pete. You've given them their props for what they have.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is stating what most other people already know is that maybe a stadium's not the best place. St. Pete isn't the best place to build a stadium. Let's move that across the bay because they can coexist, right? You have the stadiums and sports over here. You have beaches and bars over here and other great accoutrements in St. Pete. And it's okay for them to be separate, but yet coexist. That's all you've ever promoted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I should never be looked at us versus them. And I think it's a very childish and provincial attitude, quite frankly. Yep. Unity Gads, Unity Gods says Junior Caminero should be extended. He is the face of the franchise. I don't have my glasses today. I'm struggling a little bit. I'm for that, Unity. Can I call you Unity?
Struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to wait. I'm going to tap the brakes on Junior Caminero a little bit before we go all out, 12-year contract extension. I think
before
he's going to
go all Wander Franco on him.
Exactly. So there's no rush here. There's no rush. The time is right. We'll get there. Imagine Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker. Imagine bringing some of these homegrown guys home. We can afford it. We can do it. JP and Ham's party will be an all-nighter. Damn right.
Oh my God!
Come on out tomorrow, guys, and see us at at least see Tim virtually. Party with us at Riveters UFC. Daniel says it's seasonal, but I'd love to see that ferry year round, especially if the Rays end up in Ybor. Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome to take the boat to the Rays game? We talked about that. Yeah. People always want to bring back the past. The Devil Rays were bad baseball. The Buccaneer creamsicles are a losing uniform, says Nathan Elliott. I agree. Move on. Keep the bad juju in the past. The creamsicles are a losing uniform, not the Devil Rays.
So it's interesting.
Actually, he's right.
It was interesting when the Bucs announced their creamsicle game against the Falcons this year. I wrote an article for Bucs on Athlon Sports and posted it on X. And I got some comments. Everybody's like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see the creamsicles." And in the article, of course, I quoted JP. I got a great quote from JP about how they're bad luck and everything. And I had a lot of people, JP, who claimed to be from Tampa who had never heard of the bad luck creamsicles. They thought they were just rainbows and candy canes, the creamsicles. And they didn't. And I said, okay, well, read the article all the way because I put all the stats in there for you, how bad they've been wearing those. And they came back and they're like, I've been a Bucs fan my whole life, and I never thought that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's a thing. It's a
thing. Well, so the 0-26 to start. Then we had the little 3-year run there with Doug Williams.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, it was 14 years of no playoffs in the Creamsicles.
Yep.
And we're 1-6 in them as throwback uniforms, which I think we've lost 5 in a row.
And the year you changed them in 97, you went to the playoffs.
There you go.
First year you changed them.
There you go. I mean, it's not even debatable.
I just love Bucko Bruce.
I do love Bucko.
I never understood why.
I love the creamsicles. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like they're gorgeous. I love them, but you can't win in them. There's certain colors that do not invoke fear or intimidation. Like this has been psychologically proven. Like I think there was some coach, legendary coach back in the day used to paint the visitors' locker rooms like pink.
Right.
Because it just puts you in a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And I think creamsicle is one of those things.
I can remember being a little
you just
kid.
See them and you're just like, oh.
I remember being a little kid in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, as a teenager by then, but thinking Tampa Bay and Houston can never win anything because of the colors, right? The powder blue and or what they call it, Columbia blue. And then the creamsicles, I'm like, they never did. That's what's funny is neither team ever won a Super Bowl with those.
Oh, that's true.
Here
we go. Here's some numbers from Jesse Sewell. It says before dropping the Devil, 0 out of 10 winning seasons. After 11 out of 17. Well, there you go.
Oh wow.
So no Devil, just Rays. Yeah, I'm for that. We can keep the Devil out of it, but just let's bring back
Mark.
Yeah. So that's true. Yeah. So he says, Phil Rollerson says, don't change the Rays name. Just bring back the baby blue jersey and the Rays across the chest. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lou Bomar says, Lee Bomar says the third gate is being built at the airport specifically for private planes for MLB ownership. Jacksonville Jagoffs. No. All right, I'll put this up. This is there it says Romano is going to be on Retcher's pod at 12:30 to talk about the Rays stadium situation. He'll probably spew more BS about it. JP, you've given us the real story for that. For that, we all say thank you. Oh, I might have to listen to that. Just for misinformation.
Yep. So you can dispute it all on Monday or tomorrow night.
I by the way, welcome in Lee. Lee has added some spice to the comments section. He's kind of going at it in good fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Not nasty like B, but just fun back and forth. We love that.
We have 2 B's now.
Yeah. Richie B says, I followed JP's reporting from the very beginning, and I can confidently say he's never said anything untrue. In fact, most of what he's reported has proven to be accurate. Thank you, Richie P. I just put that up because I have my detractors. They bring no facts. We have that. What else we got here? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Paul Wilson is waiting in the wings. We're going to talk about a little unity in the community, and he's got some great stuff on IMAX theaters and why we need to go to the movies instead of just watch everything at home, why we need to go to the movies. And I'm with him on this. We are brought to you by the great folks at Cafe Paradiso. Guess where I'm going tonight, Timmy?
Better not be without me.
Cafe Paradiso. Me and Scotty Fitz. After I take his money on the golf course, we're heading over to Cafe Paradiso. I've already got all my ordering ready to go. I'm getting the chicken marsala with a side of lasagna. I'm beefing up on the carbs tonight, baby. Cafe Paradiso. If you haven't been, folks, what are you doing? Rated number 3 in Open Table. Traditional Italian food like you've never had before. Tremendous service. Great atmosphere. Paulo will be there drinking wine, having a good time. So we're going to join him. Cafe Paradiso. You never know who you might see there, too. All kinds of celebrities going. South Palo Antonio's favorite place in Tampa. Cafe Paradiso. Back in 3 with Paul Wilson. Stay with us. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour, as well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucks play. We'll see you there. Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans at huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Blog Group, JPBSBlogGroup.com, On-Site Construction and Restoration, OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Get in line, get to know your contractor before the shiz hits the fan. So if it does, you'll have a contractor in line and be in the preferred client status, OnSiteConstructionFL.com. And don't go uncovered.com. Do not go uncovered with your health insurance, folks. If you're having trouble finding one that works for you, maybe too expensive, let them figure it out for you. Don't go uncovered.com. Might be able to find you some cheaper health insurance. Don't go uncovered.com. Tell them JP sent you. All right, let's welcome in the king of St. Petersburg. He is the media mogul. He is the president of Petersburg, the great Paul Wilson. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good here on a Friday. How about you guys? Show's good, by the way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
It's all because of me. It's all because of me.
I was
Yeah,
going
of
to
course.
say.
Did you catch the monologue when I was pleading for unity in the community?
Yeah, and I think that's I think it's coming. I mean, I think we're at the end of the day, while we used to be based on the density of the county, and Pinellas being, the most dense of 67, if you will, or the densest, I should say, those kind of rules or that kind of practical thinking doesn't really apply anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, the center of the market really is Tampa. It's Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota,
Right.
and
Right.
Clearwater's in there too, and Lakeland's in there too. So I think it's time. And at today's world is speaking for St. Petersburgers. There's a lot of opportunity for all kinds of multi-use venues, events, all kinds of things that can happen at the old Trop Field when it becomes former Trop Field. And St. Pete is so diverse and eclectic, and restaurants are booming, and it's really a wonderfully rich walking city. So there's so much that can happen. And I mean, I love going to the Lightning games. They're in Tampa. I love going to the Bucs games. They're in Tampa, and I'm in the dense northeast of St. Petersburg. So no excuse.
So you can envision St. Peter. You were there before there was a baseball stadium. There'll be a St. Petersburg afterwards. And what I don't think people think enough about is the amount of money that you would have had to give up. They just spent $150 million on beach renourishment. That's where you need to spend your money.
Far more valuable.
Far more valuable. Not giving, that stadium would cost the taxpayers after interest and loss of real estate taxes was $2.4 billion. That would have been the cost to the taxpayers at the end of the day. So this is what they're feeling in Miami, $2 billion for that baseball stadium. And the money you can make just selling the real estate or developing it in a way that's benefits everyone is it's so much more a St. Pete thing, right? Like you said, the cultural thing, a brand new amphitheater, more park space, more like just the possibilities are endless. Like Rick Baker came up with a great idea that you sent me earlier that I think a convention center that would bring in a lot more, heads in beds, right?
Yeah, I actually love, Rick was a great mayor, 2-term mayor, and I think at the time was the tallest mayor in America.
Absolutely. Yes.
But a really bright guy and someone who really cares about St. Petersburg and the future, right?
Bingo.
And he knows the impact. I mean, he lives not that far away. He knows the impact financially on the taxpayers for something like this. And he's got a great plan to create more park space, to create more kind of open air. I mean, look how wonderfully pastoral Central Park is in the middle of all that density.
Super cool.
We're headed that way, and I think that's a great plan. And it's far more, dare I say, St. Pete centric to do something like that. That is kind of, really saddle the taxpayers with, okay, we're going to build a stadium whether you like it or not. Now, I will say this, and I said this to you back when you were on that other thing called terrestrial radio. If Vince Namoli and that team, when it came here, was called St. Petersburg Rays, we might be having a different discussion, because there was really no, I think, kind of, if you will, identity for St. Pete for baseball beyond and we did have a legendary spring training, and Babe Ruth played down there, and Joe DeMaio. I still have old footage of that from the 20s and 30s and 40s, but that's what the Grapefruit League, that's what St. Pete really was. When the Cardinals were training here in the 80s, 70s and 80s, that was fun. It was spring training, and it was like the big bad St. Louis Cardinals, probably one of the top 5 most venerable sports brands in the world.
Yep.
But that's who we were. That's the identity of St. Pete. And I think St. Pete's become more of a lifestyle, less of a kind of look for something to do. We've got a lot to do, lot to do to have fun.
Yeah. Could not agree more. And I just think that, and we need to come together with a lot of different initiatives like transportation. Like, imagine if the 7 counties could come together with ideas of mass transit that would help fans get from Pinellas to Tampa and Tampa to the beaches. I mean, what a great idea. What a great idea. And we don't do that because we're always fighting,
Well, Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, and the provincialism has been an impediment on in multiple industries in Tampa Bay for a long time. You look at markets like Oakland, San Francisco. Two separate fiefdoms, but they're part of one big unit. There's no acrimony back and forth, and it's almost like competition, kind of subtly, which really is ridiculous. I think especially today. I mean, in Europe, beyond the socialized, transportation system that is trains, when you want to go across a bay, or you want to go from, Seaford, England to Dieppe, France, you take a jet boat, that's like a mini little cruise ship, and you're there an hour, and that's, about 200 miles. Well, not quite 200 miles. But we could do something like that. And certainly the ferry, I think, is a wonderful, good step. Although I'm not sure I want to be leaving an afternoon game at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and coming through the thunderstorms that, rattle up the bay. But I think we can solve that.
We can solve that. Yes.
You're right. You're right. We need that kind of help.
Yeah. All right. So let's pivot now to summer fun. And you wanted to talk a little bit about going to the movies and bringing back going to. I love. There's, I don't care how many streaming services you have, going to the movies, sitting down in the seat, now the big recliners, getting your popcorn and seeing the big screen. There's just something magical about it. For me, there still is. And I don't want that to ever go away.
Well, and I don't think it will. I think you're seeing a lot of prognosticators talking about movie theaters will be gone in 20 years. I don't think so. I think there's a couple different kind of, I'll say, directions that they could go. And remember the origin of movie theaters. They were among the first buildings, public buildings in America with air conditioning.
That's right. That's right.
So
they were the place where we went to get news.
The
newsreels.
There was no television to tell us what was happening overseas with that guy with the funny mustache.
Yeah.
Mean. So news on the march. Here's what's happening, Then it turned into kind of a typical, I'll say, kind of top-down corporate approach of, wait a minute, let's just have screens everywhere and sell $25 and $16 Cokes, And I think now, certainly with the rise, and you could argue the rise of, screens that you could have on a wall now, there's nothing like that visual experience. And I think that's where IMAX can come in. I mean, imagine they tried this, they did very well with this, but they took some classical movies that, like my son, who's 20, almost 21, never seen in a theater, Jaws, and 70 millimeter. And even though your TVs are pretty damn good for, not that much, they're only in the 4K, maybe 6K. IMAX is 18,000K, right? So you have a much richer visual display, and you're really kind of escaping. I think that the recliners, and they all tried the kind of in-theater dining, and some of them kind of just waned. I think that was the wrong approach. They forgot it's the screen. And I think the screen can be very, very valuable. And I think certainly then I actually interviewed a group not that long ago in Kansas City that does what they call the FECs, the Family Entertainment Center. And that's kind of a really exciting thing.
What is that?
You'll have movie theaters, then you'll have a bowling alley, then you'll have a bar. Then you might have a virtual reality room. You might even have axe throwing. When that crazy movie, which was, a romp if it's your, cup of tea, Terrifier came out. People in that business would, come see the movie at Terrifier, then they'd give you a coupon to come back and throw axes. Yeah. So, I mean, they could do some interesting localized marketing. But it gets the family back to the movie, and they're looking for kind of what they call linger longer approach.
Right.
They tried it with, hey, have some wings. Well, I can get that at Publix. Or, hey, have some pizza. Well, that's been frozen for the last 4 days. Yeah. It just didn't fly. Americans, especially today, are far more, they can do this and go, what's the food like at this theater? Dude, forget that, load up to McDonald's before you roll in. Now I think it's about really making more of an experience. So I think that's in the future, and we may not see the multiplexes like we have. In fact, I don't think we need to. Make it more of really an event to go to. And
so
I think
have 4 big screens of an IMAX theater. Yeah, because
IMAX is very expensive. You ever seen an IMAX projector? It looks like an octopus on steroids.
Where do we have them? They used to have a big IMAX at.
Channel side.
Channel side. Yeah.
Yep.
Do we have one anymore?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a couple around. They're only in about like 30 so cities. They're very expensive. But because they require a lot of fanning to kind of keep that projector
cool. Yeah.
But I think when you look at some of the purists, like Nolan and Tarantino that really want to shoot on 70 millimeter film, not 35, even though it's digital, but that kind of print with that much more data, I think you can really see. I mean, look what F1 is going to do in IMAX.
Yeah.
Look what Maverick did in IMAX.
God, it was so cool.
I think people are going to really. Those that really want to go are going to go. It's kind of like the 80-20 rule. I think they all tried to make everybody go to the theater. Well, I think you're still going to have about 20% make it really enjoyable for them, and they'll come back.
I love it. So you mentioned F1. What else we got coming out?
All right. So this one's interesting. I know how much you love capes and boots. But it was like back in the 60s when a guy named Stan Lee was kind of getting older in his 40s. Right. And he was kind of bored, and his uncle was a publisher, and his uncle, saw this thing called the Justice League from a thing called Detective Comics, also known as DC, come out, and said to his nephew Stanny, "Why don't you make me some kind of superhero team?" And he thought that was kind of dumb and would rip it off. So he goes, "Who would be a team of superheroes? A family. A family would be a team." So Fantastic Four was the very first kind of Marvel. Right. And what's interesting, I think, for those in Tampa Bay is that those first two movies were written by the dearly departed, wonderful Michael France, who owned the Beach Theater in St. Pete Beach. He was a great screenwriter and a wonderful guy.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
He died. Yes, he died too young, I think, of cancer. But he, so there's a wonderful St. Pete connection to the Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. What they're doing with this is they're kind of going back to like the original, because they couldn't do that then because Fox owned the rights to Fantastic Four. Disney had not purchased Fox yet.
Okay.
So that's why Marvel, the Marvel Universe, launched with Iron Man and then the Avengers. Right?
I
think we're
remember Super Friends?
Super
Friends was the first connected like superhero deal on Saturday mornings. We had
the cartoon
Super Friends. We had, so it was Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And
the Wonder Twins.
The Wonder Twins. Yeah. Anybody else?
Aquaman.
Spider-Man was in there.
Aquaman was in there. Thor showed up a little bit later. In the other comics, you're talking about DC and Justice League. I mean, I had all those toys too. But DC was rocking. So that's when Stan kind of came up with this Fantastic Four thing. So I think this movie that comes out at the end of this month or end of July is going to take us back to the 60s. Yeah. And it's what were we doing in the 60s? We were trying to beat Russia to space.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's going to be fun for those that have that proclivity.
I can't wait for
Tim Witherspoon asks, bring back drive-in theaters with all the digital streaming stuff.
I think I should have mentioned that because there is a move afoot to bring drive-ins back. So you can just sit in your car and watch a giant 6-story screen.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So that takes a lot of land to do.
Well,
right?
I mean, and there's still about 100 or so of those around the country that are. I mean, I know one in Virginia that's one of the oldest that is still thriving, especially on the weekends. I mean, they'll hold 500 cars.
Jesus, Pete.
Yeah, and it's nestled in the mountains, so it gets dark.
God, that's so cool.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
That's got to be super cool. All right, what else is going on? What other else things? Oh, by the way, I went to see. I started Duster. Oh my God, we're hooked on Duster. So hooked on Duster. What a great show! And if you haven't caught it, Paul's in that. We showed that clip last week. But that is a really well written.
Big fucking problem.
Who said that?
It's one of our new drops. It may be usurped by Trump, though.
You may get a call from Warner Brothers
this week.
You may get a call from Warner Brothers. That's not my line. So.
Oh no.
All right, that's all right. No, it's a rip roaring show. It's a throwback kind of fun.
God, it's so good.
Race action show. And I think that, again, that's the kind of content. Think about this. Back when we were in high school and college and stuff, it was Happy Days was celebrating the 50s.
Yeah.
Now we're celebrating the 70s like it's the 50s.
I love the 70s.
And
love
the
the
80s.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a definite throwback where, you gotta go meet somebody and either punch them. You can't just text them something nasty.
No, that's exactly right. Exactly right. All right. What else are we watching? Mobland, just jumping into that as well. Mobland is fantastic.
Yeah, you saw that? Okay, so isn't that just fun? It's that I think is that, and that entire kind of style. That's a Guy Ritchie style that, if you remember Snatch.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie where Brad Pitt comes up with this crazy British accent that no one can understand. It's like, what dialect are you speaking? That's the kind of quirky, fun humor. And I think someone last week mentioned The Gentleman, which is the same kind of style.
Yeah, The Gentleman, yeah.
But there's a lot of fun stuff out there, I think, that people can either catch up on, or certainly, you got the next one of Jurassic Rebirth is coming. And obviously Superman, and I think what's fun about Superman is, he comes back. So he's been gone for a couple of years. So there's no origin. Don't even worry about Smallville, and don't even worry about how he arrived. We're not going to see any of that.
Yeah, just got to jump right into it. I like it.
Yeah, Crypto's there. Crypto, my favorite's there. We get to see Crypto on the big screen.
Crypto, I think, is going to break the internet when we start seeing a bunch of cryptos and capes all over Instagram.
It's going to be great. Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great.
Great stuff, Paul Wilson. Thank you, my friend, as always. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
I'm not a crook.
No, you're not. You got a big fucking roll.
JP, we have a comment from the FanStream Sports Studio text line for you this morning.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, and he actually commented after yesterday's show. I was able to interact with him a little bit. This is about the stadium stuff here. I won't show his phone number, obviously, but it's from the 727, so it's legit. What Wander Franco was convicted of has been going on for a long time. 53% to 56% did not graduate from high school. Why? Because 54% of them are pregnant before they're 15. This is a corrupt country, and young man is being held accountable. How many Major League Baseball players from the DR have done this and gotten away with it, but now they're going to be held – they're going to hold this man accountable. And then he also had – I don't think there's many people in St. Pete that would agree with you on the Rays Stadium issue. I live in Pinellas County, and I know how many people are upset.
Well, the polling shows when people were – the League of Women Voters did an extensive poll on this. And when people were educated to the actual deal that was going to be made and cost the taxpayers, 80% of them in Pinellas County and city of St. Pete said, we don't need to do that. 80%. And just anecdotally, I think most people, when confronted with the cost in Pinellas County, do not see the return on investment.
Right.
So I think, I don't know anecdotally if you think most people are pissed about it. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Pinellas that don't want it because it's closer to them. I get it. But, what we talk about here is a regional approach. Yeah. It's a regional approach. And I think it's the smart approach for us as a region. And again, it has nothing to do with St. Pete being a bad place. It's just for the people that live there, the few baseball fans that live there, of course you're upset. I get that. I get it. But, again, I don't bitch about driving to the beach. I don't bitch about driving to downtown St. Pete because I want to go. It offers something different. And I want to be there. And I will drive to do it. Yeah. And, they're not going to locate baseball stadiums for, what's best for the minority of people. And, I would just say, and I don't like saying this because it feeds into that provincialism.
Right.
But it's true that it's a failed location. The people of St. Petersburg and Pinellas that live closest to the stadium have not supported the team. That's just a fact. If more people would have gone, nobody would have been bitching.
Yep.
And it's obviously easier for the people that live closer to the stadium to go. So at 28 years, they've had an opportunity to do that, and they just haven't done it to what's needed. And it's not their fault. Demographically, it's just not a big enough area. And it's surrounded by water.
It was just doomed to fail from the groundbreaking.
Which is why Major League Baseball never told them not to build a stadium there. You don't have a big enough population to support Monday through Thursday, 81 games a season. They have the numbers, and they're irrefutable. And they've proven out over these years.
Yep.
Well, we win, so why don't people show up? Because it takes a bigger area closer to the stadium to do it. Hell, the playoff games that were announced last year, 24, 36 hours beforehand at 2 afternoon games, 19,000 and 20,000. That's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And it makes the market look bad. But how many people from Hillsborough County who had to work those days were going to get over there? Not many. Would it have been bigger crowds in Hillsborough? I think so. Yes. It's just a numbers game. You have 2.4 million as opposed to 700,000. You have 3 times as many people, almost 4 times. It's just going to be more people to draw from in those situations. So we don't need to relitigate that all over again.
Nope.
All right. Any other things we needed to get to today? Oh, so
what about Ric Flair?
So this appeared on Tampa Reddit, and I hate to do this to the great Ric Flair, but it's all over. So if you haven't heard about it, so people on Tampa Bay Reddit were like, in the hospitality industry, were like, hey, is anybody aware of Ric Flair, like, hanging out at all the different restaurants and getting kicked out of there because he's crapping himself? And it was like everybody like joined in, and they're like, yeah, this is like going on. And I'm like, Rick is what, 80 years old? 70 something years old?
At least.
And so you may be sitting at the bar at the Pearl or
76
American Social, and there you see Rick. You want to go get a picture, and you may get a little surprise. I don't know.
Would it sound something like this? Or it could just be all together.
You did not just do that. I'm trying to bring some credibility to this show, and then you do that.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I should show our text message from before the show, and it said, "Hey, make sure you have Ric Flair woo and your fart drop loaded up." Those were under orders.
It's a bit, man. You can't out me like that. We're doing a bit. You can't out me like that, dog.
I thought it was genius. I'm not outing you. I'm crediting you.
I'm supposed to play the part of the serious journalist, and you're supposed to play the part of the wacky producer. That's how this works. So I don't get blamed. I'm like, oh, damn it, we're supposed to be a serious show.
Look, nobody ever
accused me. How can they take me serious when I'm
show?
making fart jokes and crap jokes about Ric Flair?
What's at the end of the show? Look, the last 15 minutes of the show, it's a free-for-all, okay?
And that's how we do it here.
You want serious journalism, listen to the first hour.
Allegedly.
When I'm still asleep.
Allegedly. All right, don't forget, tomorrow night, special edition of the JP Peterson Show. If you want to tune in, we'll be hanging out at Riveters, showing you all the fun things going on over there, 7 to 9 o'clock. We'll have a bunch of T-shirts to hand out for you. Just come on over and say hello. Have a burger with me, some wings. We might be throwing down a couple of craft beers, which, by the way, they've been brewing their own beer for a while now. We're going to debut that in July. They have their own brewery there. The tanks are full. That's been fermenting or whatever the hell they do up with that stuff. But I cannot wait. It's coming up soon. So we might even have some to taste, some of the new stuff to taste.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. So come join us at Riveters 7 to 9 tomorrow night for the UFC fight. You always get in free for the UFC fights at Riveters. So come join us. Great job, my man Tim here. All you commenters, we thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you. We can't do it without you, and we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go Rays.
We'll be right back.